Thank you so much.
And that reminded me of lots of things. Of course, I have a presentation, but I will go for that later. As an association, we are working with 74 countries. Pre-COVID days, almost every week we are going out of India. And in the telecom, there is a body called International Telecom Union, Geneva, of which I am the Vice Chairman for India. Whenever I go, for chance, if you're talking on the main topic, I talk on the two side topics. So one side topic here is what I just heard before about the AI. The other side topic is about the spiritual part of the life. So I would like to start with the AI topic. I say, I enjoyed each one of you. Somebody said of old system of Navratna, somebody said human-made AI, somebody said computer vision-made, all those things. Each one of you were really a jewel for that thing. But we say generally in the World Forum is human is the worst enemy of human itself. We do not talk of the fundamental things we need. The SDG goals are the education, are the food, are the health. We don't talk. We talk of AI, M2M, ML, 5G, 6G, 7G, 8G, all those things. Nobody talks that half of the world is unconnected now. 50% of the population of the world is unconnected. And somebody sitting somewhere, somebody in Delhi, somebody in Geneva, somebody in Sweden, somebody in Germany, will talk of some advanced technology. So we wonder, why don't you talk of the fundamental things? पहले पानी तो मिल जाए पीने का, बच्चों को केयर तो मिल जाए. थोड़ा पॉलिटिकल ना कहेंगे, बट दिल्ली ने जो मोहल्ला क्लिनिक किया है, that is very good for ordinary people. We are talking of robo surgery and this and that, all those things. Why we are do that way? And इससे next point ये आता है कि somebody sitting somewhere will make a technology, whatever name they give. Every few months we will have a new name. And that will be thrusted on us, all these humans. And they will not talk of the bad part of it, like cyber problems. And they will say humans should take care of this thing. You should be careful in assessing and using the AI also. But the question now being asked is, what was the need in the first step to have this technology? Has anybody asked for it? No. Now take the case of now telecom. India has been the fastest rollout for 5G in the world. Our operators invested heavy amounts for that. Having invested the money and put up the towers and systems, now both operators, Airtel, Jio, are saying there is no use case. We don't know how to use this. Nobody wants to pay us for 5G. And we are talking now 6G. So that is the point one, that human itself is the worst enemy of human. Operators are cursing in between themselves that why we invested on 5G. And same way we will curse on 6G when it comes in 2030. It is a fact that human cannot be replaced by anything. Whether it is a case of teacher or driving or anything. Now I will just remind you of the two best known cases of the AI or 5G. One was the driverless car. Very wonderful concept. World over, people were excited few years back. There were trial runs from here to there, running into 500 kilometers or so. Now the project has been shelved virtually. Why shelved? Because we the human are the technical experts sitting somewhere, failed to make a software. Suppose this is a driverless car moving, and on the road I find one of my son, one of my political leader, one is an animal, another is a tree, another is a poor villager. Now somebody has to be killed because of some reason. Now whom should I kill? my son, or the political leader, or the tree, or the animal, or poor man. Now this will go on changing from man to man. So they failed to make this system. So it is virtually on the whole. Having invested talk for years on this thing. Same thing come for the robo surgery. Robo surgery is very fine. There is no doubt used in the city it will have more analytical thing, more details, everything fine. The problem medical field is facing are twofold. One is what is normal. There is nothing called normal in the medical field if you really ask. Suppose they say that BP should be 120. So 120 is not a normal figure. 120 is a figure arrived by virtue of average. They will study 1 lakh people or 2 lakh people and they will say this is the average of that. So it's very unusual thing. I used to say something very funny thing. Suppose the medical experts decide what is the average age of the human being. Suppose they say it is 5 feet or 6 feet, whatever they say. And the Amitabh Bachchan goes there, they will say, oh, you are 6 feet 4 inches, so we should cut your leg by 4 inches, bring you to 6 feet. And if Jaya Bhadri goes, they will say, fix extra legs for her to become 6 feet. Because of this reason, the medical field, when they use this AI, all these things, they are in a limbo. Because computer robot will do whatever it has been taught. He cannot use the mind here. That was the case of robo. And another robo case, Japan, because robo is trained that his area is say around 4 feet or 3 feet. So some worker intruded and robo just crashed that man. So these were some starting thoughts about this thing, that we are worst enemy of ourselves. In brief, we don't talk of the real needs of the world. Why half world is unconnected? Why we don't talk basic needs? So this was the part I enjoyed Anjali's, and I wish I could have been earlier, so would have listened the entire thing. Thank you very much. India and world over. We as an association formed BPO long back in the, I think about 8 years back or so. There are some slides here, not much relevant also because all of you know. Actively involved in policy making with different bodies. They are member of more than 180 or 60 committees. In the case of BPO sector, we were responsible for that work from home policies long back in the COVID days. We are also known as the only association who has joined the ribbon cutting of CES last week, was the world's biggest electronics show. Of course, well known to political people also. We have a core committee of, we have around 48,000 members. And we have the committees consisting of bureaucrats, consisting of legal persons, consisting of police persons, consisting of vice chancellors, technical people, lots of committees are there. A very widely known body. There is a long list of members. I don't want to go. You will have the copy on the website available. BPO Council, as I said, it was formed long back. And during the COVID days, they survived only because of our BPOs, our KPOs. We were able to connect the world, and India was known world over as the best country during the COVID days because we were connected. This I have already covered, I think. You all know the figures for growth also, I don't want to repeat that. You also know these things. This presentation is given to my office, so I'm just running it up. I would rather like to talk to you. Do you have any specific questions to ask me with regard to technology, or telecom, or the government policies? We are known to be expert for government policies on procurement, on technologies. And nowadays there is a lot of talk about the land border countries or China countries. So that may add some value to you if you have something to ask for that way. Otherwise, all of you are most welcome. to take our reference from presentations and join us as a member also. If you have, I would love to again talk to you, all of you as a association or to the Brain Analytics as a company. If you have any issues to take up with the government, you think something more can be done up, some more policy changes are required, we'll be happy to do that. There were lots of issues earlier regarding to international BPOs and other things. I think they are sorted out because I don't find any demand now. I would love if you have that things. So anything you want to ask, I will be happy to share with you.
So the question is that over the years, we have seen that the BPO industry has been moving from India to other geographies of the globe. With the advent of and the use of AI in the businesses, and we all know from the knowledge that India is developing a lot of AI software and everything. So do you see that we would see the shift from the movement of the BPI back to India from the volume and work perspective?
Because earlier day you were supposed to find out the answer of the question somebody asked.
Right.
I'm very not light of putting hand like this. Now it can be very easily answered back with the help of AI. So it is going to help you to increase the business, and yes, AI will increase business for India also. It will have to. You have to.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Goyal. In the past, we have seen there had been a lot of telecom operators, coming to India, and then they collaborated with some local service providers, and then they started working in the Bangkok area. But over a period of time, most of them vanished from the existence. Right? What might be the reason for that? And looking at the current infrastructure that India has as far as the telecom operators are concerned, or telecom industry is concerned, how do you think that AI would enable the Indian telecom operators to perform more and generate more business than what international service providers are actually doing right now? So, I mean, how AI would help and how government of India is actually investing in getting towards automation, AI, and digital transformation? That's my question.
The world whose landline was not 100% subscriber based, and we suddenly moved to mobile. There was a great demand, hunger for mobile telephone talking, and the government as usual opened up. Everybody was welcome as per the given norms. There was craze that we should have as low tariff as possible. Lots of companies came up, but worldwide it has been seen that there are not more than 3-4 operators in a country. So India also ended up in the same way, that we have not more than 3-4. Of course, in this, our country's legal system played a role because of the so-called 2G scam. There was a court judgment in which operators were asked to close down. So we leave it there only. We won't discuss the scam or other part, but that was the reason for going them down. Now, operators as of now, they are using AI not as such as AI. They are more into the new technologies, 4G, 5G, 6G, more speed, low latency, high speed, all those things. AI is a part of that, but AI more is for the services part. Government of India has been very proactive, and they formed lots of working groups to use the AI, and that is being used. Operators will also use it basically for customer services. It is going to increase them, but the operators' main problem in India is their revenue. As of now, our average revenue is about 200 rupees per customer per month. Although it is more than 5,000 or so. So they are struggling, if you really ask me, all of them. How to get the revenue is the biggest problem, which was said by Sunil Mittal in one of the interviews last week or so. AI as such will give operators good platform to serve customer better. But to telecom operator, it may not result into increasing the revenue for them. That is the answer to this thing. In fact, I am also associated with 900 universities. I am so-called professor because I go to 18 universities for teaching. On our board, we have 82 vice chancellors. So you can also ask anything about the education sector if you so wish.
Is related to the basic of it, which is people, right? People are basics of the BPO industry. Now, are there any policies for the regulation with respect to people? So what we've seen after COVID was massive layoffs, then shortage of resources, then people were hired at skewed salaries, and then again layoffs. So this cycle happening. So there's a regulation, right? Today, if my team was having an X lakh of salary, today it's 70-80% of more than it is. And yet, after those salaries, also we don't get that skill set, which we can say, okay, is at par with the skills that the person is having. So what is the regulation on that? The second is, which is very related, with the AI taking over, there's a lot of job redundancy because of the basic skills that people had, which is not required today. So any regulations on upskilling of people on certain norms, it is of course today organization-wise, they want to decide, okay, this is what trainings they want to do, but anything that you want to regulate on these two aspects. One is the salaries, layoffs, and the trainings. To summarize.
Actually, on the one side, we say we are in the digital world. Everything digital, digital payment, digital health, digital money, digital this, digital, everything digital. On the other side, all the well-known digital companies are laying off the people or haircut the people. Whether Amazon, whether Google, whether Microsoft, whether TCS, whether Wipro, all are laying off. Second, we say we are now more dependent on e-commerce type of things. The fact is, Swiggy, Zomato, everybody is laying off the people. So, we are confused and ordinary people are confused कि अगर स्कोप इन चीज़ों में है तो ये आदमी क्यों निकाल रहे हैं. Second confusion comes up. They say there is lot of job opportunities, but with the new skills. And as a university person, I can tell you the problem with the university. These tech companies, all these tech companies want students from university who knows AI, who knows M2M, who knows data analytics. The problem with the university is who will teach them these things. Every second week there is something new coming up, some new formula, some new tendency, some new thing. And these things comes up from some inventor sitting somewhere. So they don't get the teacher. So the gap continues. They say we want high-tech people. I have vacancies of 1 lakh people, but they should be AI trained, they should know how to do this thing, how to do robot surgery. And the educator will say, who will teach us? There is a real life case in this that because of our intervention in India, CBSE, which is the body for teaching 10th and 12th standards, made it mandatory 2-3 years back for AI and data analytics for students from 9th onwards. For 2 years, we hunted for the teacher's part. We could not get it. No answer came up because technical thing only these people know and they will never share with you. They will come for the program, they will talk something, they will say they are doing this will increase the speed, this will do so and so, but not teach them. Another same thing is in the field of cyber security. You will never find in any part of the world a course which make you graduate or postgraduate in cyber security. They will teach you computer science, add up cyber as a topic. Because of my so-called interworking with the government, and we have a separate association for cyber security, which is headed by Mr. Rajesh Pant, who just retired as a National Cyber Security Coordinator, the highest post in India. We started BTech Cybersecurity in Uttarakhand University this year. For last 1 year, we are struggling how to get the teachers. So the answer to your thing is, this is a mystery, and if I say we are misfed by these technical people, that it will increase the thing, it will increase the opportunity, but who will train them? And so again the same thing comes up. The fundamental thing is technology they are making and saying भाई आप अपने आप को ट्रेन करो ना AI में, जॉब बहुत है हमारे पास, कहाँ से ट्रेन करोगे? Same thing happens in the case of salaries. In fact, on the one side, lots of countries are saying we are booming, but now it is coming out. Even USA is worst suffering for economy. China is suffering. Now COVID days, we force them to use the mobile. And the fallout of this is, they have become inhuman. If I go to my home, of course I don't have children in my home because I am quite aged myself, but my son's daughter or my daughter's kids, they don't talk to us. They are just sitting on the WhatsApp, Instagram, all these things, etc. And my biggest say, the top persons of the world who invented these things, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Sundar Pichai, their kids are not allowed to have internet or mobile. And our kids are busy on this thing. That's the technology. Anybody else? I think.
This is touching, I think, most of our hearts, right? So first of all, I'll pick the first statement that we all have, right? How is IT going to help, right? In fact, I was talking to a couple of universities in the past as well, and so it's a dual side responsibilities. Yeah, obviously, yes, bigger enterprises have to actually go and nurture young students and kids. We normally have a little bit of a challenge where our clients come back and they say, hey, we need experienced people, right? We always need 6 years, 5 years, 7 years plus. But we need youngsters to come in because they are close to the customer group. They are the people who are actually buying the products, the things that we are designing. So we definitely need them. Yeah. So I was talking to few university people in the past, and I recommended when we are designing the courses, right? In that course period itself, if we can give a little bit of idle time, right, where we can actually tell them the implementation of what they are learning. For example, some very high-profile, courses like AI we were talking about today. Earlier times we were talking about kids who are learning Java, and we had to teach them the CMS side of the world, right? Can we really, sharpen them very quickly while they are studying and get them trained to get deployed on a CMS-enabled project? So little bit, we will also have to figure out how we find time during 5 years students are going through their graduation and teach them practical things and give them the POCs. That's request number one that we all have from your side. Close to everybody's heart, right, is that all of us are getting so used to our phones and everything that we hardly have time to sit calmly and have lunch together or a dinner together, right? We don't listen to each other. I think very lately people have started going to this thing called digital fasting. A lot of people were talking about. So we invent new words, right? Almost everybody. So which means you will not have your phones close to it for one full day, and then you will be talking to your family members, having food together, focusing on it, and then just engaging. And that's very, very important. And as you said, humans are the biggest enemies of humans ourselves. We need to figure out, draw a line. What is right for us and what is not? Because there were times, sir, we were actually part of joint families, right? Big families, and in fact, both of us were talking about it a couple of hours ago. We became human because there were stories that our grandparents used to tell us. They kept us simple and humble. Now students and kids are actually influenced by data sitting online and reading through it. They are not with their grandparents anymore. They are not with any elderly who can pass those small stories through which they can learn and become human. So we have to go back to the older time as well while we move forward. So to actually strike a balance between both them.
The government is very active. They come out with the new education policy, which is the most wonderful document. Even before the policy, we had a system of internship for each semester. So if somebody is passing BTech, he is supposed to pass through 8 internships in 4 years. And internship means the project is practical, or go to factory, or go to industry, or go to here, learn all the things personally. The problem here, I am a sandwich between both of them, education also, industry also. I received request from X university, please have internship for my 80 students or 20 students or 10 students. And I talked to my tech companies, nobody has time for them. They don't want them in. Because if they join, we have to give them a computer, we have to give them a space, we have to teach them. And every officer is under tremendous pressure to meet out the KRAs. So they don't want them. And university has to send them because of the mandate. So ultimately it turns out that the policy came out with something, another ununique thing. Ununique, I am saying. Why unique? Even if university organizes a conference for 2 days, it is supposed to be internship. Or they join this program, it is supposed to be internship. But that's not the purpose of internship. So this is going on. Industry, because of high pressures, do not have time to devote for social cause in this way. If they use CSR, that is for some other purposes. I wish like in China, when tech companies goes there, they make it mandatory that if you want to supply me 4G, you have to train 10,000 people of my ex-university for this thing for 2 years. But that is only China can mandate, nobody else can mandate for various reasons. So that is the gap goes on. Training part is there. Also government came out with the apprenticeship scheme, wherein if a student join my factory, the government pays the apprenticeship. But again I am worried, we don't want to involve them. Second part you said about children also. Yes, I don't have a technical answer, but I have a physical answer. Because of my spiritual part, I am generally asked by lots of parents, "Goel साहब, ये मेरा बच्चा बहुत परेशान करता है, सारे दिन कंप्यूटर पे बैठा रहता है, 2 दिन तक कमरे से बाहर नहीं निकलता है, फोन को छोड़ता नहीं है, और हम बहुत परेशान हैं." The only thing I tell my these type of persons are my friends is, तुम्हारे पास कितना टाइम है बच्चों के लिए? कितनी बार तुम बच्चों के साथ बाजार में गए घूमने? कितनी बार तुम उनको लेके मंदिर गए या चर्च गए या सैर करने गए? नहीं जाते हो। तो ये बहुत जरूरी है जो हम लोग लैक कर रहे हैं. एंड यू आर राइट, बिकॉज ऑफ नॉन एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ जॉइंट फैमिलीज वी डोंट हैव टाइम फॉर दैट. बट अदर पार्ट विच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू यू एज ए पेरेंट्स, आप बच्चों को छोड़ दो 2 दिन के लिए कि बेटे 2 दिन तक तू फोन पे ही लगा रहो, जो करना है कर, इंस्टाग्राम कर, फेसबुक कर, व्हाट्सएप कर, कुछ भी कर, तेरे को कोई जरूरत नहीं, यही तेरे को खाना देंगे, यही तेरे को पीना देंगे, यही तेरे को पढ़ाई देंगे. एंड आई हैव ए लिस्ट ऑफ अराउंड 50,000 kids which I have molded for this way. करना तो, in my own case, my own daughter's son around 18 years of age was so busy on online gaming. I told him for the next 5-6 years, don't go to school, no need to go to school, enjoy the gaming and be in the gaming. When I gave him the freedom, within 3 months he stopped the gaming and came back to the physical life. हम बच्चों को टाइम नहीं दे पाते, इसका और कोई आंसर नहीं है. और because of this package in the world, we are forcing them to go through digital. Now every children wants a smartphone. The other problem the world is facing, I said the fundamental problem. जब तक 2G फोन था 500-700 का मिल जाता था, 1000 का मिल जाता था. अब तो स्मार्टफोन चाहिए, वो भी 5G चाहिए. कितने का है? 25,000 का है. आई एम श्योर आप सबने महसूस किया होगा, आपके घर में जो काम वाली है वो कहेगी जी मुझे एक स्मार्टफोन चाहिए बच्चे के लिए, 20,000 का, 25,000 का. एंड आई हैव सीन द चिल्ड्रन जो 10-12 साल के हैं, अंकल मुझे आईफोन चाहिए. तो ये फंडामेंटल चीज़ें हम सफर नहीं, मतलब एडजस्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. जॉइंट फैमिली बाय आंसर जो अब नहीं मिल सकता है. हमको ही बदलना पड़ रहा है उसको देखते हुए। बट ऐसा आ रहा है आजकल, ऐसे ऐसे सिस्टम फिर से आ रहे हैं। जैसे आपने कहा कि वो डिजिटल फास्टिंग है, और हम काफ़ी यूनिवर्सिटी में जाते हैं तो वहाँ ये प्रॉब्लम आती रहती है। तो आई वॉज एबल टू कन्विंस 4 यूनिवर्सिटीज ये मोबाइल फ़ोन को बैन कर दिए। तो जब मैं जाता हूँ तो बच्चे कहते हैं अंकल हमारा फ़ोन ऑन करा दो। मैं पूछता हूँ फ़ोन पे क्या करोगे, खाना खा लिया, क्या किया, पिक्चर कैसी है, अमिताभ बच्चन कैसा है, क्या जरूरत है। इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कन्विंस देम कि तुम्हें जरूरत नहीं है फ़ोन की। और दूसरे, जैसा आपने कहा कि हम कहीं जाते भी हैं तो फ़ोन लेके बैठे रहते हैं, गए क्यों हो। इफ एनीबडी कम्स टू मीट मी एंड बिजी ऑन द फोन, मैं मीटिंग खत्म कर देता हूँ, थैंक यू वेरी मच, प्लीज गो एंड एंजॉय द फोन। इन वन ऑफ द ऑनलाइन कॉन्फ्रेंसेज आजकल और ड्रामा चल रहा है, वो ऑनलाइन ज्वाइन करके फ़ोन पे लगे रहते हैं। तो आई हैव क्लोज डाउन मोर देन 100 कॉन्फ्रेंसेज ओनली फॉर दिस रीजन दैट वाई आर यू हियर एंड वाई आर बिजी ऑन द फोन, प्लीज क्लोज द कॉन्फ्रेंस, गो टू हेल्प। हम लोग ध्यान नहीं दे पाते। तो दैट्स द ओनली आंसर टू दिस। थैंक यू।
The statement because I'm very overwhelmed with what.
आपने देखा होगा कि मैंने पीपीटी ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं दिया।
Please go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, please go.
So, thank you so much, sir. This was very, very enlightening. I think a lot of interesting things that you spoke about. It's taking us back to being human, right? One thing I wanted to just say: how many of us, we all do a lot of hard work, right? We work from morning till evening, all of us, right? Every one of us. Tell me honestly, how many of us really enjoy the food that we eat and how many times we chew it?
Nobody enjoys
है ना?
that.
Yes sir.
Nobody enjoys.
कोई नहीं enjoy करता. हमको
Nobody
टेंशन है.
enjoys, and you take food like a compulsion, साला खाना पड़ेगा।
खाना पड़ेगा और जल्दी जल्दी खाते हैं, एक कॉल होगी, जल्दी जल्दी खाते हैं, वो करना है, जल्दी जल्दी करते हैं, ये करना है। बट हम किसके लिए कमा रहे हैं? ह्यूमन
टेक कंपनीज के लिए।
हाँ पर हम किसके लिए अल्टीमेटली किसके लिए कमा रहे हैं? हम इंसान को क्या चाहिए? वी आर आल्सो जस्ट लाइक एनिमल, बट अगेन somebody corrected me the other day कि इंसान को, humans को एनिमल नहीं कह सकते because of some there is reason, there is a science around it, so I would escape not say that. but हमें तो रोटी कपड़ा मकान ही तो चाहिए, असलियत में तो वही चाहिए ना। तो हम जब खाना खाते तो उसको एंजॉय क्यों करते हैं? जब भाग किस चीज के लिए रहे हैं? भाग उसी चीज के लिए रहे हैं कि जब तक हम वी आर अलाइव वी वांट टू जस्ट ईट फूड एंड ईट फूड प्रॉपर्ली एंड एंजॉय एवरी सेकंड ऑफ इट, right? With that, let's enjoy the food that we eat and let people enjoy, keeping all phones apart. And second thing, when we go out and we want to see a particular thing, right? हम अपनी आंखों का प्रयोग नहीं करते, हम प्रयोग करते हैं फोन का। फटाफट कैप्चर कर लो, दुनिया में ये सीन चला जाएगा। बट सबसे बड़ा कैप्चर करने का इंस्ट्रूमेंट दैट गॉड हैज इम्प्लीमेंटेड इज दिस ब्रेन। But we are actually not using our eyes, we are using the smartphone to capture every moment. So ultimately, we are becoming robots. We are not living the life that we have blessed with. So with a note, let's live life to the fullest. So sir, thank you so much. I just wanted
के फैसला करता है कि खाना खाते हुए फोन को अलग रख देंगे, तो एटलीस्ट 1% या आधा % का इम्प्रूवमेंट हमारी लाइफ में आएगा। बट मेरी फैमिली में ये रूल है और मेरे ऑफिस में ये रूल है कि आप खाना, हमें ऑफिस में तो खैर बड़े डिफरेंट रूल्स हैं। आई हैव 42 एम्प्लॉइज एंड नोबडी इज अलाउड टू यूज फोन इन द ऑफिस फॉर पर्सनल वर्क्स, फोन ओनली फॉर द बिजनेस वर्क। कोई ये नहीं पूछेगा क्या कर रहे हो, कहाँ जा रहे हो। दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग वी कैन डू। ये कर पाए तो अच्छा है, थोड़ा फायदा रहेगा। और थोड़ा टाइम निकालें बच्चों के लिए। और जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि हम किसके लिए कर रहे हैं, खाना तो हम खाते ही नहीं, भागते रहते हैं। क्यों भाग रहे हो? कभी तो सोचो बैठ के, कभी तो बैठ के सोचो कि क्या कर रहे हो। और एक नेटफ्लिक्स की पिक्चर आती है, उसका नाम मैं याद नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, सोशल डायलेमा। आप सब जरूर देखिएगा, बच्चों को दिखाइएगा। बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग पिक्चर है। उसमें रियल वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ टेक कंपनीज की स्टोरी दिखाई गई है। और एक कहानी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है जो मुझे अच्छी लगती है उसमें, कि एक आदमी ने एक कोई AI बनाया कि जैसे आप पे मैसेज आएगा तो आप उसको रेसिस्ट नहीं कर सकते जवाब देने के लिए, आपको जवाब देना ही पड़ेगा। तो जब उसने बनाया तो उसके पास ही मैसेज आया. नाउ ही वाज नोइंग इट कि मैसेज मैंने ही बनाया है और मैंने ही एआई बनाया है, लेकिन वो अपने आप को कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाया और उसने उस मैसेज का जवाब दिया. वो घर गया, 2 घंटे तक जवाब देने में लगा रहा और वो बार बार कह रहा है अपने आप से कि ये मैसेज तो मैंने फ्रॉड बनाए हुए हैं, गलत बनाए हुए हैं और मैं ही उलझा जा रहा हूँ. नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग ही वेंट टू ऑफिस, रिजाइंड. ही सेड द वे आई एम वर्किंग, आई एम किलिंग ह्यूमन. थैंक यू. देखिए हम लोग कितने कंजूस हैं, इतने कंजूस हैं कि हम तालिब
would be sharing his interesting insights on delivering exceptional customer experience. So can we welcome him with huge round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Nitin, for joining us today.
Okay. And how many of you would dare to agree with me? I guess nobody, right? It takes a lot of effort to deliver exceptional experiences, especially when your customers are really demanding nowadays. Today, as we know, we live in a world of experience economy. What I mean by this is that individual products or services are not valued more these days. The entire experience of a customer that carries more value than the individual product or the service itself, right? So we've seen a paradigm shift, especially post the pandemic, in the way we live our lives, right? In the way we shop, the way we eat, the way we travel, the way we look after ourselves, about our fitness and stuff like that, right? So I'll give an example that the experience part when it comes especially with the food industry, right? So earlier we used to go to a restaurant and first of all look for a nice restaurant, a nice place to eat, go to this place, order some food and eat, and that was it. But now with the advent of companies like Swiggy, Zomato, Dine Out, the experience has completely changed and it's completely evolved now. Now, for example, there's a paradigm shift in the way we shop, right? So we used to visit two markets, then the shopping malls came into picture, but now 50% of our shopping is done online using e-commerce, right? So ultimately what we're trying to build is a customer experience, and that is what the entire enterprise or the parent organization is banking on. That is what will drive the customers towards a particular company or organization, which will help you to foster your brand. Now, if I look at the persona of the customer nowadays, the Gartner calls this persona as an everything customer, right? So, wherein this customer in a single breath would ask for seemingly conflicting experiences. For example, they want to be connected, at the same time they want to be left alone. If I want to give you a practical example, right? So let's say if I get a call from a credit card company telling me about a new offer on a card, right? I would simply, bang my phone down saying, hey, don't bug me now. I'm busy in a meeting. And at the same time, when I see a friend of mine using his card to get a 15% extra discount or getting 2 free movie tickets, I would call up the same bank and say, why did you tell me about this offer earlier? Why does my friend has it and I don't, right? So this is the persona of a customer. The customer, this everything customer is a very, very difficult persona to manage today. And that is what we are trying to solve using technology from Avaya, how we enable the BPOs, the contact centers to handle the persona of this kind of a customer. One other example is that let's say
they would typically want to be treated equally, and at the same time, they would want you to give them a unique customer experience. So this is the kind of persona that we are dealing with nowadays, and we have to tailor make our processes, our business around this, so that we can deliver the experiences that they require. Now, talking further upon the experiences, there are 4 building blocks of an experience, right? So one is the customer experience, employee experience, user experience, and multi-experience. So we have to touch each segment of these to build what is called as a total experience. Now, customer experience is how we treat our customers, right? What is a unique proposition that we can bring out and deliver that to? And the employees who are enabling this experience, how do we enhance the experience for those people who are working for us? And then, both for the customers and the employees, what is the user interface that they are providing them? How easy or difficult is for them to stitch those experiences, to build those experiences? And lastly, the multi-experience. Nowadays, we have to manage multiple aspects while you want to create or stitch an experience journey. For example, you could be engaging with a client or a customer using voice call, social media, web chat. There are multiple channels that have popped in today, and we have to manage all of these in a fashion that you create that exceptional experience for your end client or the customer. And once you are able to address all of these 4 blocks, we will achieve what we call as total experience. And in subsequent slides, we'll talk about how do we get there. Now, if you talk about delivering exceptional experiences, right? So there are 4 building blocks. First is getting connected, process orchestration, then managing resources, knowledge and insight, right? And all of this at the back end is powered by AI. So now when you talk about getting connected, right? This is what Gartner says, right? Now, if you forget about the numbers, essentially what we're trying to say is that everybody who would connect to a contact center would ideally be speaking to a voice bot or a chat bot, right? And people would actually prefer talking to an AI-based assistant rather than a boring DTMF-based IVR. Now, how do we make that happen, right? So we make use of something called as conversational AI. With partners like Gnani.ai, Nuance, Google CCAI, and Sestech, we are able to stitch this experience. While this conversational AI sits in front of the IVR, where you make that as an entry point for anybody who is trying to interact or to connect with your company, right? Hence, the getting connected experience gets started. Now, with this, what you do, right? So you don't have to push your end customer to a series of menus where you say press 1 for this, press 2 for that. You simply make use of something called as free speech. You simply say, how may I help you on the voice bot? And the customer immediately says, hey, I'm looking for this, help me with that. And the conversation starts from that point onwards. So one, we reduce the time of handling at the IVR level. Second, we reduce the frustration of the customer in getting to the right set or the segment of the question that he wants. Now, these are some use cases around it. For example, outbound collection, lead generation, customer support, CSAT, transaction processing, customer onboarding. So all of these things can be automated and we run it through conversational AI. When we talk about getting connected, we also talk about channel freedom. So we don't restrict the customers or the clients to come in via making a phone call only. They could just simply connect to us on web, WhatsApp, SMS, chat, email, social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever they want, right? So as soon as we enable all these channels for our customers, they feel really comfortable to get connected with us, and they can use a channel of their choice. Ultimately, you will have the same set of the agents or the same pool of agents who will be servicing all these clients through these multiple channels. And while this happens, we give them the flexibility of using the device of their choice, right? They could come in via a computer, a smartphone, a tablet, or whatever they have handy and which has the means to connect to a particular enterprise. We can do that. Now, the second pillar that I talked about was about managing resources, right? So, how do we do that? So, we enable our resources, which are basically employees, to cater to specific tasks by enabling them with tools that makes their life easy. For example, a CRM, right? Now, a CRM does what it does, right? But when you marry that to the contact center technology, like a wire, this CRM also acts as your interface to connect and to communicate with the client itself. So basically, you could build the telephony inside the CRM, you could build the email, chat, voice bot, chatbot, anything you want that gets embedded into a single screen. So the employee gets a single screen, a single interface to work. Another interesting part is the AI-based agent assistance. What does this mean, right? So, for example, you have an agent, right, who is servicing a client. Now, this client is really angry for some reason with your brand, and he constantly is picking the name of your competition, right? That your competition is doing this, you are not doing that. So what I can do is that I can have a machine listening to the conversation between the agent and the customer in real time, and basis certain parameters, for example, the sentiment analysis, the keyword spotting, the intent identification. I can coach the agent in real time with a script or with a next best action. So, for example, if somebody says that your competition is offering me a lower rate on my credit card, why are you not doing that? So, that agent at the same time would get a screen pop saying that this customer is eligible to get a lower rate. So, why didn't you go ahead and offer that card to him? Right? So, another classic example is that whenever a customer is reaching to a contact center after traversing a chatbot, right? So let's say the customer has interacted with a chatbot, and there were 30 messages that were exchanged between chatbot and the customer, and then ultimately the chat gets transferred to an agent. Now, when the agent receives a chat, one, he has to spend time to read and scan through all 30 messages. Otherwise, if he asks that same question again, the customer would not be happy, right? So he would say, okay, please hold on, let me go through your chat history, whatever has happened between you and the bot. But if you infuse AI over here, what will happen is that the AI-based tools would summarize the chat that has happened between the bot and the customer, and specifically bring out bullet points in front of the agent, so that agent can quickly get a hang of what has happened actually between the agent and the chatbot and the customer, and he picks up the conversation right from that point, right? So this is actually how AI helps agents in real time. Another classic example is AQM, or automated quality management, wherein we automate the quality management, the calibration process using AI. This was a task which was classically done by a team of quality analysts sitting into a BPO, right? Now this can be automated and AI will take that task over. Now next pillar is the knowledge and insights. So in a contact center or in a BPO, we generate tons and tons of data. which I would say doesn't get used to its potential. Maybe 4 or 5% of it is processed and is used by people to make some informed decisions, right? Now, with the advent of AI and automation, what we can do is that we could process the data in real time and also increase our sample size. So, if you do a manual QM or a manual analytics, right, you would be able to process what maybe 2%, 3% of data that you generate in a day. But with AI-based tools, when you do analytics, your sample size can be as big as 100%. You process every bit of data that you collect in a day. So if you have this great sample size and if you run a lot of complex algorithms using AI and ML, you will get astounding results, right? Which you can use very judiciously to take some informed business decisions. For example, if you see that in a certain period of time during the day, I'm getting maximum number of calls. So I can take an informed decision to increase my skills around that specific time, right? Or if 80% of my calls are repeat calls for a specific topic, I could simply automate that mundane task for which I'm getting most of the calls. So these are some things that you could actually make use of AI and get this up. Another very classic use case is voice to text transcription. So basically, when you record calls, you transcribe them into text. And once you have them in a text format, it is very, very easy to run text analytics on top of it, right? Now, next pillar for us is the process orchestration. How do we orchestrate the entire process that we have spoken, right? So basically, what we're trying to see is that the entire history of an interaction, from the point when the call comes in till the time the call gets over, right? How do we orchestrate the entire process? Again, if I talk about AI and ML over here, I can take some informed decisions on how to route that particular call. So, as you guys are aware that all the BPOs use something called as a CDP, right? It's nothing but a customer database which has certain information, right? So, let's say if I call into a company and if that company has me in their CDP, so let's say if they say that, okay, I'm somebody who likes to travel a lot, right? And on an average trip, I would be spending 50,000 rupees. So they can use that specific information, one, to play a welcome prompt with a promotional message even before I reach to an agent, and then basis my personal choices, they will be able to match the right resource or the right agent who is skilled to handle a customer of my persona. And everything here is happening in real time. Not the best agent that can match to the real-time customer persona that is coming in. So this is what we call as intelligent customer routing. Now let's talk a bit about Avaya, right? What is the advantage that Avaya brings to the table? So whatever we have just spoken, right, that is captured in this ring that you see here. While we have all the capabilities, the best part is that we are
most common delivery models which are available today, and we can deliver it in the choice what our clients want. So for example, a BFSI organization would not be really keen to host everything on a public cloud. They might be looking at an on-premise deployment or maybe a hybrid cloud. While a BPO who is in the business of doing only email-based campaigns, they would be more than happy to run it out of public cloud, right? So depending upon the needs, the entire solution can be tailor-made, can be delivered as per the choice. And lastly, I would like to talk about the experience builders. So Avaya sits right in the middle, and we have a host of partners. So this entire partner ecosystem is what makes this interesting, right? So one, we are able to coexist and integrate with all the leading vendors into the industry, and we gel with them very well. We complement all these solutions, and we have active working relationship with all these partners here. Well, that's all from my side.
How data science in general, not just LLMs or generative AI, but data science in general, machine learning, analytics, right? So how it can really help BPO industry, or much broader term, let's say customer experience point of view, how it can really, help us take things forward. So let me start off with Rishi. Why don't we start with you? You come from Microsoft, and give us a broad perspective of from your point of view. You have a much broader view of how the things are shaping up. So
thanks, Rajneesh. See, actually, Microsoft suddenly has come to the center of all the technology discussions, especially from an AI perspective, and especially with our partnership with things like OpenAI, etc. Things are coming to a lot of center stage. As Rajneesh said today, most of our discussions, whether we are meeting the head of technology, head of customer experience, or founders, etc., every discussion starts with AI and ends with AI. So AI, as we all know, it's not a new phenomena, but suddenly with things around large language models, OpenAI, generative AI, it's become center stage, and that's the hottest topic today in tech globally. We have seen multiple use cases around contact center BPO industry, and this is not a new phenomena, while it's picked up a lot of pace in the last 3 to 6 months. But if I talk about experiences from different industries, whether a vertical use case or horizontal use case, there are multiples of them, not only across the globe, but in India also. If you talk about, and I've seen a presentation from Avaya, wherein we all have gone through frustrations in a typical IVR scenario. And I think a lot of acceleration in usage of AI came from the COVID times, right? I'm sure all of us have gone through waiting for cancelling an airline ticket. I've been on calls for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and the agent is not there, right? We have been passing on from pressing 1, 2, 3, 4 and not getting a response. So COVID was a big acceleration in terms of adoption of some of these use cases. Now conversational AI can change, so I'll take a customer perspective and I'll take an agent perspective, how it's helping the VPs also. From a customer side, once you start moving away from traditional IVRs, we are not saying you traditionally totally discard them, but end of the day, conversational AI can become an enabler and a co-op model along with these traditional IVRs. I mentioned that rather than pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, imagine you call a call center and the AI bot is asking you, hey, how are you? Can I solve this problem for you? So rather than you always telling the problem again and again, the problem is known to the bot. And we as consumers are evolving, right? Now the next gen is very used to using conversational medium, whether it's a search or a voice. at least people 20 years back, 10 years back, were more comfortable talking to people. But the new generation is very, very aligned to talking to a voice bot. And that's what is coming out of the research from Gartner, etc., what I saw. So one is the entire customer experience is being transformed. And this is happening across industries, whether it is telecom, whether it is automobile, whether it is retail, whether it is banking. Just to quote you a few examples without specifying the customer names, one big telecom company globally, they have actually implemented AI-based conversational AI for the last 2 years. It's not a new phenomenon again I'm calling out. They have actually they're parsing millions of calls to their automated voice channels. This is both in terms of calls coming on the contact center and the queries coming on the website, applications, etc. So one, AI data analytics gives a single pane for a customer and a single multi-channel view across various channels. So a lot of conversation, a lot of problems for the customers are getting solved. Now come how it is helping the contact center. There are various use cases we have seen being implemented in customers in India itself. Example one with insurance company, what they do, they capture the entire call center data for doing audit and analysis of the calls, right? Typically, if you are not capturing this, you tend to miss out and you do a sampling call analytics. But if AI and analytics can capture the entire call data and transcribe all the calls, you can really do 100% sampling on that. And you can look at metrics like how the agent performed on the call, what are the customer sentiment, whether expletives or bad words were used. So all this is possible through AI. Similarly, we have a big automobile company in India who have started kind of qualifying customer leads. So traditionally this was done through contact center agents, but now they have deployed bots, voice bots, to really qualify you as a customer. You go on a customer on the website, you show interest in their product, and a bot will call you to actually start rating you and put you as a qualified lead to a dealer. They'll start working on use cases like selling you spare parts, outbound calls, etc. So tons of cases across customers, helping agents, agent productivity getting improved.
You are right. I mean, I think over the last couple of years, technology has matured, and especially with a lot of things coming around from LLM point of view, the use cases that we can now realize, to the extent that we can realize, is definitely getting much better. Ajay, bringing you also into the conversation. So, in general, let's say, how do you see technology, being used in a BPO context? And then, if you can specify more from a data analytics point of view, right? So, how do you see BPOs getting better? What's your experience on this?
Thank you. So BPO has really matured, I would say, in the last couple of decades. When BPO started way back, and I guess there was a company called Jekis. Impact was again a pioneer on this Lean Six Sigma initiatives, which was earlier an industry dominated in automobiles or manufacturing, but they brought Lean Six Sigma into BPOs. So how to do continuous process improvements and make the BPO's outputs more efficient and effective and generate more value for the customers. Then we started leveraging robotics. And robotics, we spent really many years just getting stuck on robotics till the time we got further push and we moved into artificial intelligence and machine learning, and that literally helped BPOs a lot because as Nitin from Avaya was mentioning, we were doing sampling audits 10, 20, 30% initially when the audits in BPOs. Imagine the impact of accuracy it would bring on the transactions, and imagine how it will add value to the customers. Then further evolvement happened. BPO own tech solutions were getting provided by companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipros. There was a lot of transformation along with transition that was happening. The entire cloud movement was key of that decade. So that brought a lot of technology into BPOs. Further maturity got involved into it. And then lately we are seeing a lot of analytics being used into the BPO, which is the second part of your question. Analytics is literally helping the business leaders to make decisions real time. Earlier, we were looking at the reports which are generated literally a month later. So what you are seeing or what you are consuming as data is literally something which is a month old, and the decision you will be making, which will be a key decision, is based on something that is not even relevant in today's day. So I guess I'll leave up to that. Analytics has helped a lot in bringing the decision making, the real-time decision making, which brings efficiencies and effectiveness, and it makes process quicker.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ajay. Thanks for taking us kind of down that memory lane and summarizing this whole journey. Joy, while we are at it, just digging a little bit deeper into that, right? So typically when you think about call center or BPO industry, right? So there are two types of communication, right? Outbound and inbound.
A lot of people are from the BPO industry here, so we'll talk ad nauseum about how AI has helped the process workflow and the optimization of that entire process and the customer experience, because there's a lot of personalization which is happening by their clients, right? And therefore we talk to them. Most of the BPO industry is also very heavily focused on the B2C industry. However, there's a smaller group of the B2B industry where there is a lot more outbound. Of course, inbound is there if you're doing customer service, but demand generation, which is outbound prospecting. Now, the interesting added-on flavor there you don't always know who the customer is going to be, right? You're trying to generate a lead, and therefore you don't know the prospect. So there's a lot of innovation which is now happening where you're looking at first identifying who your ideal customer profile is, right? So you might be, if I'm a service provider, I might be doing it on behalf of my clients, but every client's persona is itself different, and who they want to target is different, and again, from a different geography perspective, there are privacy laws of how you can interact with them. But the use cases of AI and ML helps a lot in identifying who that ideal prospect should be, which channel should you use to connect with them to get the most effective response rates, and finally, how do you personalize it from the perspective of it becoming conversational rather than a sales push. Right? The biggest challenge that we face is when we get a unsolicited call trying to sell us something, right? And it's even more so in the B2B industry, right? You're not only talking to bid managers, you're actually talking about the senior leaders, right? Because you want to influence a purchasing decision. Now, in those cases, you can't definitely have an agent call in and saying, "Hey, I'm so and so, I want to sell this thing, and are you interested?" That's going to fall flat, right? In some other use cases in B2C, in B2B, it works. So what at least we've done in some of the industries, leaders are also looking at innovations, where first you look at the type of persona you're reaching out. So if it is a senior level or mid manager or a buyer or an influencer, the type of conversation you're going to have with them is very different, right? And AI ML can actually help you generate that script. Of course, it's not like automated. It's not throwing everything into Bard or ChatGPT and saying, "Give me the script." You have to have enough in-depth knowledge and both of the product as well as of the customer. Now, knowing the customer is the other big challenge. Now, most of the BPO industry works with known devils, if I may, right? But when you're talking about a company or a prospect you're trying to address, you better know their pain points, right? Ahead of, and this information is actually while it might be publicly available, it takes a lot of time if you get the agent to start doing all your research before you start calling, right? So it's important to feed that information or that intelligence to the agent so that they can have a conversation which is more pertinent to the person that you're talking about their company. So that personalization based on what's happening now, as you might know, ChatGPT and OpenAI through Microsoft, it has its limitations, right? It has data only up to a certain point. Bard has gone a little further in it being a little more real time, but they don't have the API access because they're still, getting there. So there is still a lot of stuff that you need to do to tap what's happening in the market real time, get information about companies or prospects or what they're doing, and then personalizing it. So AI from that outbound perspective has a lot more use cases than just process efficiency, because now you're talking about personalization at a level without even having the data. Personalization is still easier when you're looking at web traffic, usage, payments, consumer behavior. But personalization is a lot more difficult when you have no information other than just the information about a company. In fact, nowadays you're even looking at a senior leader and looking at what channels do they use and effectively consume information from, and only go through that channel, because you're going to get a response rate. Otherwise, response rates can be as poor at 6 to 10%. So those are all innovations which are happening on the outbound side.
And not only the knowledge one has, it is a normal saying, right? Now, an AI would only take the text, it will convert the content to text, but it would not be able to understand of how much time should they be taking to respond to a normal college student or to a person who is at a senior VP level in an organization. Probably a senior VP may not call themselves, their EAs will do that. But that is where I believe AI cannot understand those aspects today, because it is still the evolution stage.
Sure. Joy, thanks a lot, and I think this definitely, like some of the small things that you mentioned, right? So picking out the right, like segmentation of the customers, right? Who to reach out to, understanding more about your customers. So, I mean, while at the outset, looking at ChatGPT and Bard, it might look very glamorous, you just give a prompt and, generate something out of the wild. Or
Talk about, I have been in quality for about 20 years. I was a quality analyst myself when I started my career. So I want to talk about how I used to do quality and what we do today as in the quality functions. If I look back, I think that work was very, very shallow. Our function just used to monitor 400 calls. The quality analyst job was first to figure out how many people are present today and looking at the roster manually, and then picking up the sample, and then the sample has to be of a smaller AHP so that I'm able to pick up, catch up on my sample and my targets. And then the quality score never used to make sense. I mean, we have a good quality score, but yet businesses are bleeding. I mean, and that is the reason I no wonder that, at that point in time, quality was never an important function, and it was never valued as visible today. And then we moved on. Of course, there's a lot of journey to it. But today, we don't have to, some of the quality tools that we have today, those are all automated. We don't have to think about bias monitoring and everything, because that's all inbuilt into the system. So which means today, we just don't do quality as a number to meet it. We look at how do we improve the processes. So which means we look at all exceptions. So today, I'm very clear. So first is, at that point in time, it was a standard quality monitoring for all the accounts, for all the customers. Today we have curated quality frameworks. We are able to curate because we know what the business problems are, and through quality, how do we ensure that? So it's a 360-degree approach. So we only look at exceptions, for example, any high value transactions and any call disconnections on the compliances. And moreover, of course, with the phased, of course, in the journey, the kind of transaction that we're handling today is more complex vis-a-vis what it is today. I mean, it was yesterday. So, and of course, from the topic that it is here to stay, it is absolutely, because at one point in time, the adoption of technology was little difficult for us, because for us to make a technology work, there were a lot of efforts. For example, for a speech mining or a speech analytics, right? There has to be coding done, categories built in, and that has to be continuously worked upon. And my team will say, this is a big headache. I'll create categories and the categories are evolving and changing altogether. So that adoption was low. But today with ChatGPT, absolutely, it's a breakthrough improvement, to be honest. And I do see quality getting transformed even with a faster pace. So I don't have to make categories, everything is self-categorized. So which means that, a large part of my sampling, everybody spoke about 30% sampling. We never did 30%, 4% was enough, 4 to 5% sampling was big enough. But today we can think about 100% sampling, and I think, and this is clear, with no efforts. I think that no effort. So look at operations today. If the operation is getting automated by 50-60%, which means our errors are going to be reduced significantly. and which means that if the errors are reduced, we don't need quality department, to be honest. Then we have to, we have to see how do we add value. And I just want to give an example for NPS. You would know, right? It's the biggest metric today. It is a lot of pain points for us to solve for in a customer experience environment. I was asking my team, we're putting so much of effort, why the NPS scores are not improving. So they were telling me that all the basic easy call types have been automated by bots, and we're getting difficult transactions, and difficult transactions are negative by nature. We cannot get customer CSAT. I mean, look at the problems that we are getting into, and I think with this technology, we will absolutely have to think about a newer ways of adding value.
That other people have mentioned about quality, operations, the very premise of a BPO, and why we started off with the BPO, the contact center, and get the resolution to their queries. Now, with AI being there and the exact challenge that was highlighted, I do get a response because I am monitoring the parameters of response time. The moment an email comes, the moment a chat comes, I am able to respond to it. But half of the time, and with all the data and everything available to all of you guys, the most used option is still connect to an agent. Because if I would have been so learned as an end user, I would have gone to your website and checked for the solution. And most of the AI, currently, I'm not talking about the generative AI of the future, because I am from the risk management and security team. And I talk about security and risk of today, right? And how do we evolve out of it. So the most used option being the connect me to the agent, and it still does not do it, leaves a customer unsatisfied, and the very parameter of a BPO is customer satisfaction survey, because we have to rate an agent. A company is never rating their product, they are rating an agent or a person who is taking the calls. And in this case, when the chat bot is doing it, or when the voice team is doing it, or generative voice modules are doing it, there is no customer survey that would ever come to you where you did not get the answer to your query first, and you did not have a vision to even give the feedback. Am I right with that? I think probably you would have all used it. And I recall that example. Few days back, I was trying to reach out to the credit card department of a particular bank, and it told me which one do you want to use, a bank account, or a credit card, or the loan facility. And I tried every possible extent that I have learned through when I was in a BPO, or every possible extent that I could learn from my parents and the people around. Every Haryani, Punjabi, it did not take credit card option. It did not take credit card option. How do I go ahead? We're talking about AI. The AI, the premise on which AI is used is on the basis of data and sample, the amount of data that you give to it. Do you all know how much of data do you all have in you? As a human being? Anyone?